All right, well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting day of mathematics. Whoop, whoop. Warm-up number 20 is on the screen. There's a couple of things they're asking us to do. Number one, compute the measure central tendency and sketch a box plot. And second, compute the standard deviation and sketch a bell curve. They give us the information, Algebra 2 group test scores, and they give you the test scores there. Which data representation optimally summarizes the data? So I'll give you guys some time for that. Copy and go. All right. So let's see where we're at. So measures. Mean. Volunteer for the mean. Devin? 71.87. Hands, have you got that? Okay. Aaron, what'd you get? Who got 73.8? Okay, 73.8 it is. Be careful with your computation, because once we start getting into bigger numbers, it starts different. How about median? Median. What'd you get for your median? J-Day? 80? Hands if you got 80. That's about right. Mode. Andrew? 90. That is correct. So far so good, yes? Okay. How about standard deviation? Standard deviation. What'd you get for a standard deviation? Vince? What is it? 21.9. Hands, have you got that? Okay. Did anybody go to the 100th place? JC? 96, 21.96. Hands, have you got that? Yeah? Either one? Okay. And of course, you sketched your representation. So question, which data representation optimally summarize the data, which means which one gives us the best way of representing this data, which is Algebra 2 group test scores. JC, pick someone. Zach, which one and why? No. From the box plot and the bell curve, which one did you choose and why? Tell you what, before you answer, talk it over one more time with your neighbor. From those two representations, which one is the one that best describes that data and why? All right, continue, Zach. Why? So it shows a range from here to here, okay? And why not the box plot? It's just more clear over here. Did anybody select the box plot? Some of us? Okay. Yeah, I think with these kind of numbers, since they're small, I think we can go with either or. But once we get to bigger numbers, guys, and we start differing the number of data selected, sometimes it's going to depend on what they're asking for on a survey or on whatever it is that they're collecting for, okay? So anyways, leave it at that. Copy the agenda for today. Warm-up number 20, statistics and probability. And today we're moving on to the next session. Your home plate for tonight is page 17, numbers 1 through 16, odds. And if you notice by now, this is routine now. This is our 5th home plate from the book. And if you notice, it's mainly answering questions to situations. So hopefully you're getting the hang of it little by little. All right. And get a Cornell note ready after that. All right. All right, our objective for today can identify data sampling methods. We're still with statistics with just the introduction to the basics, and we're moving on, okay? All right. So we don't need a Frayer model. Today I'm going to use like a concept map just to present a couple of things to make sure. And if you notice, as we go along, I've been presenting the main ideas using concept maps or Venn diagrams just so that we can absorb it as best as we can, okay? So with that said, we already built one of these, yes. We already know what kind of statistics we've been using. Today we're going to talk about data collection. Data collection. Every day there's such a thing as data collection. Kind of like this. Do you guys know that everything that you do on your phone is being recorded and the data is being collected on you? Does everybody know that? Yeah? Okay, good. And of course you should know that also that when you are searching for something on the internet, I don't know if this happened to you, but you search for something that interests you, such as, let's say you wanted to look at the new Michael Jordan number 35s, or whatever. And then all of a sudden you go to your social media. I don't know if you noticed that you get commercials on what you were searching. Have you guys noticed that? So data collection is happening every day at all times. Now, in regards to mathematics and data collecting, in class, some of us use, like teachers, I use strategies so that I know that we are moving along right away. Kind of like, I don't know if you guys remember when I keep saying, all right, show me from 1 to 5 how comfortable you are with what we're doing so far. That's data collecting. I'm collecting data to make decisions on that, okay? Well, today we're going to talk about one way of collecting data known as surveys. Now, I'm pretty sure you've had that experience before, right? How about in your social media? Do you guys get in social media stuff? You guys get, how about weird texts from time to time that they want you to answer certain questions? How about phone calls? Sometimes we get some spam or whatever phone call because they're trying to collect data from you now specifically. Now there's 3 types of surveys that we have out there and that are the most common, which are these. Mail questionnaire, and I'm pretty sure you've seen that when you go collect the mail. There's certain little cards that they send in that they just want you to send that in. Some people even send $1 in a packet so that you guys can answer the question and mail it back. The other type is by telephone. Like I said, you've already probably got some of those calls. And the third one I'm pretty sure this has happened to you when you go to a mall where they try to do a what? A personal interview. Has that happened to some of us? Yes? All right, good. Copy that, please, really quick. All right, so for today, I'm only talking about two different things. Today, I'm only talking about data collection in regards to the most common surveys, which are those three. And the second one, which is known as data sampling methods. Data sampling methods. Now, in regards to sampling, that means that they are going to be asking to get some data using these, in this case, 4 methods. Here are the most common 4 methods: random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, and cluster sampling. So copy that, and then I'll give you an example of each once we get there. All right, so here we go. Random sampling. This is probably the easiest one that I can think of, is as follows. Let's say Mr. Apodaca wanted to give a survey here on campus. However, most of the time throughout the day when he does his routes, sometimes he speaks to only specific people throughout campus. Have you guys noticed that? Sometimes he stops in certain places, talks to some people. So I would think that maybe that creates a bias in the sense that maybe he might pick only some people to answer some of the questions that he's asking. So what can we do to make it so that it's not biased in that regard? What do you guys think? What can we do? Like if we had a list of names and then he saw the names of the people that he talked the most, what can we do? Talk it over to your neighbor. What can we do in order to not make it that biased? Val got it. Maddie's got it. Very good, Maddie. Patricia's got it. Very good. All right. What can we do, Pedro? What do you think? Instead of using the names because they would be biased, well, what would we do? Yeah, random, okay. But at times, even by looking randomly, sometimes we would pick the people that we see the most. So if we put it on paper, and instead of names, what can we use? ID numbers, right? So the most common way of doing random sampling, guys, is when people or surveyors, they pick a group of people, but they number those that they pick in order to not be biased in that regard. So if you want to write something in here, just write using or assigning numbers. Because once you assign numbers, there's no more names, and now you just go and randomly select different numbers, and that's why it's called what? Random sampling. But that has to be done many times in order to keep the bias out of the sample. Systematic. Systematic sampling is pretty similar, but it has a specific way of doing it. Let's say we already have numbers: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, ... 1,000. Okay. Let's say we have 1,000, but we didn't want to pick all the 1,000 to give them the survey. How can we reduce that amount? What can we do? Talk it over to your neighbor. What can we do to reduce that amount? All right. Don, what do you think? What can we do? By 10. So he said divide by 100. So like that, it's being divided by what? by tens or dividing by 10. Guys, this is what we call systematic. And we say, okay, let's pick just every 10th person. That's what we call systematic. Could we also pick another number? Yeah, every 50th person. That's what we call systematic, when you divide the sample by a certain amount of numbers. Does that make sense? Yeah? Let's say there's 5,000 in the group, and then we divide it by what? Every what? Every 100, per se. Every 100th person, that's the person we're going to select for the survey. Okay? All right. Stratified. Stratify is more strategic. That's why it starts with strategic. Why strategic? Because now we want from that sample, we want to make sure that we're only getting the people that we want in the survey. For example, let's say out of these 5,000, I want to give a survey on, let's say, favorite sport jersey. Okay, so question. From these 5,000, what can I do to that 5,000 that I selected so that I'm more stratified in regards to selecting people that would answer questions in regards to jerseys? What do you think I'm going to be looking for in that group of 5,000? Talk to your neighbor. What am I going to be looking for in that group of 5,000? So what do you think, Maddie? Yeah, sports fans. Yeah. So stratified, guys. Stratified breaks the sample group into specific groups for the survey. So yeah, so in regards to, if I want to ask about sports jersey, so from these 5,000, I'm going to break it into groups that, or the groups that are into sports. Does that make sense? Yeah? What if I wanted to do a survey on, let's say, oh, I get it, the best game out there in regards to, you know, whatever, what are you guys playing right now? PS10? What number are we on? What is it? The fifth one, PS5, right? Which is the best PS5 game out there? So guess what? I'm going to break this one into groups of selecting specifically those that are into what? Gaming. Okay? That's what we call stratify. Cluster sampling. Cluster sampling is when you break up into groups the entire sample that you get. Check this out. And in this case, in no particular form, such as this. I think the easiest way of clusters is like this. That's California, and those are all the counties in California. So we divided California into what? Counties. And then cluster sampling is by me, once we divide it into counties, now I can say, you know what, I'm going to select some counties from there so I can do my survey. So I can pick what? Imperial, and then I'll pick LA. So cluster sampling is when you get the entire group and separate it into clusters, smaller groups. And from those smaller groups, you select the groups that you want to survey. In this case, I would survey, which one did I say? Imperial Valley, and what else? And where's LA? And LA. Pick one more. What other? How about Monterey Bay? There it is. That's cluster. When you divide into groups, smaller groups, and that's how you start sampling. Okay? All right, so let's see how well we did. So from those, we have how many? 4. Random, systematic, stratified, and cluster. Okay? All right, here we go. Before you copy, example 1, look up to the screen. It says, what kind of sampling is being used? It says, out of 16 school districts in Imperial Valley, 1 was selected to collect records of 1 school day on the number of referrals issued for the day. Talk to your neighbor, let them know what kind of sampling that would be. Yay! No, somebody came earlier. They were like, did I find? Did somebody find? Oh, thank you. All right. So, what kind of sampling is this, Eric? What do you think? Systematic. Let's see, 16 school districts in the Imperial Valley. So they're taking all the districts, and from there they selected 1. Close. What do you think, Andrew? What do you think? Stratified is when you actually select only the ones that are specifically for what you're looking for. In this case, this is cluster. Why cluster? Because it was the entire county, and they broke it into smaller groups, which are the districts. Okay? Copy that one, label it cluster. Okay? So it reads once again, example 1, what kind of sampling is being used? Out of 16 school districts in Imperial Valley, those are the number of school districts, that's excluding the colleges. It says 1 was selected to collect records for 1 school day on the number of referrals issued for the day. So they got the Imperial Valley and divided into clusters of what? Which are the districts, and they only selected 1 in order to get that survey out. Okay, cluster. Example 2. All ready? All right. Here it goes. Write your utensils down, look up to the screen, and I'll have you copy right after. At El Centro Costco, every 10th family-sized Dorito bag is selected to measure if the content net weight is accurate. The purpose is to see if the Dorito packing machine is working properly. Talk to your neighbor, let them know what kind of sampling that is. What kind of sampling? All right. Looks like Pedro's got it, right? Pedro, you got it, yeah? Andres got it, Andres. All right, Andres, what is that? Systematic. Hands if you agree with systematic. Yes, when you divide and you go only with certain number and you keep repeating that number over and over. So copy that. This is systematic. Systematic. Move right along. Here goes example 3. Example 3. Here it goes. It reads, Mr. Q Q concealed the names of his students on Nearpod which I usually do, and assign numbers to each instead. Then use his randomizer to select a small group to answer questions. Tell your neighbor the type of sampling that is, please. What type of sampling? All right, type of sampling, Val. Random sampling, hands if you agree with that. Yes, and obviously also it says randomizer, yes? Yeah. All right. Copy that. I got one more after that. And here goes the last one. Mr. Apodaca divides a group of students that are making lines. He selects 2 lines out of how many lines they make at the cafeteria. And one of them he organizes by height, the other one by GPA, which is from greatest to least. Then selects a handful from each group to give a quick questionnaire. So by height, and then by GPA. So your neighbor, what kind of sample this is? What kind of sample is this? Okay. Now, we don't know the questionnaire, but according to what Mr. Apodaca is trying to, he's being strategic in regards to picking one line by height and the other line by GPA and using some of each. That's a stratified sample, because it's more strategic, selecting a specific way of sampling, okay? So, in your home plate, they're going to give you situations where you need to answer whether it's one of the 4 samples, and it's also going to ask you in regards to what type of surveys are out there. So before we leave, tell your neighbor, what are the 3 most common surveys out there? 3 most common. I'm not talking about sampling, I'm talking about the surveys. Which are the surveys, the most common surveys? It's 3 of them. Let's see, I think JC's got it. What do you think, JC? YouTube. Okay, YouTube, which could be a mail somehow electronically, okay? What other? Questionnaire, yes, which is a personal questionnaire, and then the third one by phone, when they call you by phone. All right, we'll stop right there, guys. And once again, your home plate's on page 17, numbers 1 through 16. Do the odds. Oh, was it evens? Odds? Okay, odds for today. I'll stop right there. Enjoy your home plate. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.